In a forest long ago, there lived a puppet master and a toy maker. The two lived in peace and harmony until the puppet master wanted to be like the toy maker. He wanted to make his own toys, but he could not, for he was a puppet master. And he became upset with the toy maker and wanted what he had. So one day, the puppet master had stolen toys from the toy maker and made them into puppets to fight against the toy maker. By strings of evil intent, the toys stayed with the puppet master, for he had lied to them, promising them that they would be free to do whatever they wanted under his control. He said, "The toy maker doesn't love you. He didn't come for any of you." But the toys remembered their creator's warning from before. He told them not to leave his house, otherwise they would be lost. But some of the toys became angry and sided with the puppet master because they blamed the rules that were told to them. And some sided with him because they didn't see the toy maker for days and they began to believe the puppet master's lies. They gave in to the puppet master because they felt they had no choice. Their toy hearts became so unbalanced that they began to hate the toy maker after they had been involved in a few of the puppet master's shows. They figured, he's not coming for us, so we might as well have fun. And by seeing the other toys gone away to the puppet master's house, the other toys that were with the toy maker began to leave the toy maker. The toy maker had seen what the puppet master was doing by day, and the toy maker was worried, for he saw the evil of what the puppet master was doing. The puppet master had taken toys that were of free will and attached them to strings, and lied to them and then used them. They couldn't fight to be free because they were under the puppet master's control. But when the toy maker saw this, he said to the toys with another warning, "The world has become a dangerous place. If you are not careful, you can be lost or even captured by the puppet master. But if you stay by my side, I will take care of you, and the puppets or the puppet master will not harm you." All the creation in the toy master's house obeyed. And then there came one day. One day there was one toy by the name of Cloud, who was better than the rest. He asked the toy maker and said, "Dad, what about some of these other toys that are under the puppet's control?" For Cloud knew his father's thoughts. He knew the toy maker was concerned about some of the puppets. He knew what his father knew. He knew that the puppets weren't happy. And so Cloud asked, "Father, what can we do about the puppets? Some of them are miserable at the puppet master's house. Some of them want to be free. But Dad, if you will allow me, let me open the way and let me go down to the puppet master's house, that they may be able to come back with me, and that they may come home. Even if I have to die, I love my brothers and my sisters as much as you do. I'll fight against the puppet master, for I am a part of you. I am as strong as you. When you made me, your sweat and your being became a part of me. Let me go, and I will bring your toys back to you." The toy maker looked at Cloud and said, "I will let you go, because I love them so much. I will send you to them, but know this, I will be all around you to guide you. My voice will be your conscience, but I will remain here." And so the toy maker sent Cloud out of his house and into the wilderness. Cloud was not frightened by the beasts in the wilderness, and was not even harmed by them. But he made it to the puppet master's house, and when he saw it, he became somewhat fearful. But with the courage he had from his father's words, he walked in and saw many of the lost toys and puppets. He felt sorry for them. He had sympathy upon them. And then he saw the puppet master. And the puppet master saw him and laughed with a sinister chuckle, not knowing who he was. And he said, "Poor lost little toy, why have you come? I offer no forgiveness. Why did you leave your master, the Toymaker? Have you come to rebel against the injustice that the Toymaker has caused? But when the PuppetMaster came towards Cloud, the PuppetMaster saw that the toy in close perspective was Cloud, the Toymaker's first toy, the Toymaker's only son. He laughed a hearty laugh, and he asked, Have you come to betray your own father?" And Cloud, with great courage, said, "No, I came to free all the toys that were imprisoned by your strings and your lies. I love my dad, the Toymaker." And when the PuppetMaster saw the great determination and passion in Cloud's eyes, he realized how truthful and serious Cloud was. And he, with his large arms, tried to grab and capture Cloud, but Cloud moved swiftly and hid in the PuppetMaster's house, hiding amongst the giant books and in the small places. Cloud stayed hidden, but while the PuppetMaster was looking for him with great rage, Cloud was ignoring him and talking to the lost toys. He had found them through the small places, through the high places and through the low places, and he spoke encouraging words to those who wanted to be free. Cloud asserted that he came from the Toymaker's house to free them, and to help them cut their strings, that they may run away. But some believed, and some didn't. Those that didn't believe began to hate Cloud even more. They saw that he wasn't like any one of the other lost toys. But the time came when the PuppetMaster had found Cloud and took him. The toys that he had spoken to cried and mourned and shouted out for pain because the only good toy, the only light of hope that they had, was taken by the evil PuppetMaster. The very next day, the PuppetMaster made a show, and the PuppetMaster commanded, "What should we do with this toy?" And the puppets responded, "Kill him, he's evil!" They shouted and screamed, and the PuppetMaster made it so. The PuppetMaster used the puppets, and they mocked Cloud as he walked towards his death. They spat on him and called him names. The lost toys he had spoken with cried for him, but even the lost toys that were his best friends, they deserted him. In pain, Cloud asked, "Dad, where are you? Will you help me?" But his father, the Toymaker, never came, and Cloud died. But Cloud still remembered his father's promise before he passed. Cloud remembered that his father was still with him. And so, when Cloud thought it was all over, he woke up, as if he had been sleeping. The last thing he remembered was dying, and he knew it wasn't a dream because he saw the place he died. He was still in the PuppetMaster's house, and at the time of his waking up, per se, the PuppetMaster was asleep, and the lost toys went to where Cloud was, and they found him alive. He spoke with them, and they asked, "How can this be? Any toy that is destroyed can't come back to life." But Cloud told them, "It's the power of my father, the Toymaker, by which I live. If you will but cut loose the strings that bind you to the PuppetMaster and follow my example, my father will accept you and not destroy you with the PuppetMaster when he returns." Some of the lost toys came to believe in Cloud, and they sought to go back to the Toymaker's house with him. But he said to them, "Wait a little longer, but while you wait, tell all the lost puppets I will go to the Toymaker's house, so I can come back with my father's army to rescue all that had faith in me. And when I do come back, I'll take all who are cut loose from the PuppetMaster and have a changed heart. This is my promise to all of you." And the lost toys were sadly disappointed by Cloud's words, but they held on to his promise. We told other puppets, and some became free because of Cloud's promise. When they obeyed Cloud, they became saved. and they began to love Cloud for who he was. However, while they were telling other puppets, there were some puppets who had the opportunity to be free because they heard Cloud's promise, but they chose the side of the puppet master still, who was using them and treating them like garbage and lying to them. The next day, the puppet master's most loyal puppet woke him up and told him what happened while he was asleep. The puppet master was very angry, and he came to the saved toys and shouted, "He's lying! Cloud lied to you! The Toymaker doesn't love you. I'm the only one you can trust." But then one of the toys spoke up and said, "What about Cloud? He came because the Toymaker sent him. The Toymaker sent him to us to rescue us." "You lied to us! You killed him! You're a murderer!" "Oh yeah?" questioned the puppet master. "Then I'll murder you. Let us make another show for these toys." But just then, when he was about to lay his hands on the lost toys to destroy all of them, a bright light and a loud noise burst in front of them, and all the puppets and the toys saw a man lingering in the doorway with the brightness of 1,000,000 suns, it seemed. And it was the Toymaker. There he was in glowing color with all his toys and his creation, his army, and the puppet master trembled, for he saw the Toymaker and knew that his terror had come to an end. He knew that justice would one day catch up to him, and it did. And the Toymaker spoke, "I have come for my toys. I am here to reward. Come home with me. All that have walked in the promise of my only son, Cloud." The toys that were his came quickly to the Toymaker, and their detached strings that waved behind them vanished, and they began to look new again. And the puppets in the house were afraid and sought to hide, but there was nowhere to hide. Then when all the toys from the puppet master's house came to him, the Toymaker walked out, taking all the light and his creation with him, and the puppets and the puppet master were left in complete darkness. Then, as years passed by, the house began to grow older and older, and it started to fade away with all the dust and cobwebs as years would pass by. A small flame touched the old house, setting its dry wood ablaze, and everything in there, including the puppet master and all his puppets, they perished. They died. And all creation lived with Cloud and the Toymaker in peace and security forever. The toys were free, and they were never tired, never bored. The Toymaker was happy to have his creation with him. They laughed with him, they sung songs, they did everything together. And he, the Toymaker, had erased all the bad memories from their minds and wiped away all the tears from their eyes. For the puppet master was dead, and he could no longer harm any toy ever again. The end.